Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, watching another transport ship explode into bright orange flames. The enemy had destroyed it before it could reach Earth with food and medicine. His hands gripped the metal railing as he counted the months since this nightmare began. 18 months of non-stop attacks. 18 months of watching his home planet slowly die. "Commander, we lost the cargo ship Dakota," reported Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez from her station. Her voice stayed steady, but Jake could see the pain in her eyes. They had both known people on that ship. "That makes 7 supply runs destroyed this week." Jake nodded without speaking. What could he say? The numbers spoke for themselves. Food supplies would last maybe 3 weeks. Medical supplies were almost gone. Every day more people died from the bombing of Earth cities. The crystalline ships of the Zilithian Confederacy circled Earth like hungry wolves, destroying anything that tried to help. The Zilithians had appeared 2 years ago without any warning. Their demands were simple but impossible. All humans had to surrender completely. Then they would move every person on Earth to prison planets in the far edges of space. When Earth's leaders refused, the aliens began their slow, cruel siege. Their technology was far beyond anything humans had ever seen. Nuclear weapons bounced off their energy shields like raindrops. Their guns could crack continents in half. Their ships moved through space like liquid metal, flowing around human attacks with ease. Jake walked to the front window of his ship and stared at Earth below. Even from space, he could see the smoke rising from burning cities. The blue and green world that had given birth to humanity now looked sick and wounded. Dark clouds covered most of the continents where the enemy had bombed factories and farms. "Sir, we're getting reports from the surface," Amy called out. "Food riots in New York. The hospitals in London are out of medicine for cancer patients. The government bunkers are asking when the next supply run will try to break through." Jake closed his eyes. There would be no more supply runs. The last 3 attempts had ended the same way as the Dakota. The Zilithians had sensors that could detect human ships from millions of miles away. Their weapons could destroy anything humans built. "How many ships do we have left in the fleet?" Jake asked. 43 combat ships that can still fight," Amy answered. "Maybe a dozen transports. The aliens have destroyed over 400 of our vessels since the siege started." The bridge fell quiet. Everyone knew what those numbers meant. Earth's space fleet, once the pride of human civilization, was almost gone. Soon the planet would have no protection at all from the enemy's attacks. A warning alarm suddenly filled the bridge with red light. The sensor operator, a young man named Pete Collins, looked up from his screen with confusion. "Commander, I'm reading something strange," Pete said. "There's a massive energy reading coming from outside the solar system, bigger than anything in our records." Jake moved to Pete's station and studied the readings. The energy signature was enormous, larger than the biggest Zilithian ship they had ever seen. "How far out?" "Just past Pluto's orbit, sir. Moving fast toward Earth." Amy joined them at the sensor station. Could it be reinforcements? Maybe the Mars colonies built something new? Pete shook his head. "No, ma'am. Mars went dark 8 months ago. This is something else. The computer can't identify the energy pattern at all." Jake felt a cold fear in his stomach. If this was another enemy, humanity was finished. Earth could barely survive the current siege. "Put it on the main screen." The front window of the bridge changed to show a view from their long-range cameras. At first, there was nothing but empty space and distant stars. Then Pete adjusted the sensors and something appeared that made everyone stop breathing. It was huge, much bigger than any ship humans had ever built. The thing looked like it was made of black glass, smooth and curved like a drop of water frozen in space. Strange blue lights pulsed along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "How big is that thing?" Jake whispered. 15 kilometers long, sir. Maybe more. It's hard to get exact readings. 15 kilometers. The largest human ship ever built was barely 2 kilometers long. This monster could swallow their entire fleet and still have room left over. "Are the Zilithians responding to it?" Jake asked. Amy checked her communication panel. Yes, sir. Their fleet is changing formation. All their ships are moving to face the new contact. They're broadcasting demands for identification on all frequencies. Jake watched the enemy fleet move on the tactical display. The crystalline ships that had terrorized Earth for so long suddenly looked small and fragile next to the newcomer. Their formations showed they were scared. Any response from the unknown ship? Jake asked. Nothing, sir. Complete radio silence. The massive black ship continued moving toward Earth, ignoring the Zilithian demands. It seemed to study the battlefield with alien intelligence, taking time to understand the situation before acting. Sir, Pete called out, his voice shaking. The unknown ship is powering up weapons. Energy readings are off the charts. On the screen, the mysterious vessel began to glow brighter. The blue lights along its hull pulsed faster, and new lights appeared in patterns that looked almost alive. Whatever weapons it carried, they made human nuclear warheads look like firecrackers. Jake grabbed the communication system. All Earth ships, pull back to minimum safe distance. Unknown contact may be preparing to engage the enemy fleet. As human ships retreated, the black vessel moved closer to the Zilithian formation. The enemy commander was broadcasting threats, now demanding the newcomer leave immediately or be destroyed. The mysterious ship's only answer was to target the largest Zilithian battlecruiser. Jake held his breath. In seconds, they would know if Earth had found a savior or faced a new enemy even worse than the first. The strange ship prepared to fire, its alien weapons charging with power that could reshape the battle for Earth's survival. The war was about to change forever. The black ship fired. Jake Harrison watched from the bridge of the Defender as a single beam of light shot from the mysterious vessel toward the Zilithian battlecruiser. The enemy ship had been there 1 second, its crystalline hull gleaming in the starlight. The next second, there was nothing but empty space. No explosion, no debris, no flash of light or sound of destruction. The massive alien warship that had destroyed Mars' colony simply stopped existing, as if it had never been there at all. What just happened? Amy Rodriguez whispered, staring at the empty space where the enemy battlecruiser had been. Pete Collins worked frantically at his sensor station. I don't understand the readings, ma'am. The ship was there and then it wasn't. No energy discharge, no particles, nothing. It's like it was erased from reality. The effect on both fleets was immediate and dramatic. The Zilithian ships, which had maintained perfect formation for 18 months, suddenly scattered like frightened fish. Their communications filled with panic as commanders demanded to know what had happened to their flagship. The human ships maintained their distance, but Jake could hear the excited chatter on the communication channels. After months of watching Earth slowly die, they had just witnessed something impossible. One shot from the mysterious black ship had destroyed their most dangerous enemy. Captain Lisa Carter's voice came through from orbital command. All ships maintain defensive positions. We don't know if this new contact is friendly or hostile. Jake understood her caution. The ship that could erase a Zilithian battlecruiser with a single shot could do the same to Earth's entire fleet. They had gone from facing one alien threat to possibly facing something even more powerful. Commander, Amy called out, the Zilithians are trying to communicate with the black ship, broadcasting on every frequency they know. Any response? Jake asked. Nothing. The ship isn't answering anyone, not the aliens, not us. Complete silence. The mysterious vessel continued its approach toward Earth, moving with the same fluid grace Jake had seen in the enemy ships. But where the Zilithian vessels looked sharp and aggressive, this ship seemed almost peaceful in its movements. It flowed through space like a giant sea creature swimming through dark water. Sir, I'm reading something strange, Pete announced. The ship's hull appears to be changing shape slightly as it moves, like it's alive. Jake moved to the sensor station again. The readings showed the black ship's surface shifting and flowing, in small ways as if the metal itself could think and adapt. Are you sure these readings are correct? Double-checked everything, sir. The hull is definitely organic in some way, and the energy coming from it doesn't match anything in our databases. It's like nothing we've ever seen. Down on Earth's surface, Dr. Ben Phillips sat in the Global Defense Network's command center. buried deep beneath the Colorado mountains. His team of scientists and language experts worked around the clock trying to understand the new arrival. Any luck with communication attempts? Ben asked his lead linguist, Dr. Kate Morgan. Kate shook her head. We've tried every known language pattern, mathematical sequences, even music. The ship receives our transmissions but doesn't respond. However, I am detecting something interesting. She brought up her readings on the main screen. There are quantum fluctuations around the ship that suggest it's scanning our networks, not trying to break in or damage anything, just studying. It's learning our languages, reading our history, understanding how we communicate. Ben felt a chill run down his spine. An intelligence powerful enough to erase enemy battlecruisers was studying humanity in real time, learning everything about their civilization while remaining completely silent. How long do you think it's been scanning us? Ben asked. Based on the patterns, I'd say it started the moment it arrived in our solar system. In just a few hours, it's learned more about humanity than we know about ourselves. Back in space, the black ship had reached Earth's orbital zone. The Zilithian fleet commanders were becoming more desperate in their demands for identification. Overlord Kithrix, the alien leader, broadcast threats that would normally terrify any species. The mysterious ship ignored them all. Instead, it positioned itself between the enemy fleet and Earth, like a giant shield protecting humanity's homeworld. Its weapons remained powered but not targeted, as if waiting to see what the Zilithians would do next. Sir, Amy reported, the enemy fleet is regrouping. They're forming an attack formation. Jake could see it on the tactical display. Despite their fear, the Zilithians were preparing to fight. Their pride as conquerors wouldn't let them retreat from a single unknown ship, no matter how powerful it seemed. How many enemy ships are left? Jake asked. 237 combat vessels, Pete answered, including 6 heavy battle cruisers. Jake did the math in his head. Even with one of their ships destroyed, the Zilithians still outnumbered the mysterious newcomer by hundreds to one. If the black ship was here to help humanity, it would need to fight impossible odds. The first Zilithian attack came without warning. 50 smaller ships opened fire at once, sending streams of deadly energy toward the black vessel. Jake expected to see the mysterious ship dodge or raise shields. Instead, the black ship did something that defied all logic. Its hull began to bend and twist, flowing around the incoming attacks like water around stones. The enemy weapons passed through empty space where the ship had been moments before, even though it hadn't actually moved. How is that possible? Amy gasped. The ship is shifting its physical structure, Pete explained, his voice filled with wonder. It's changing shape to avoid the attacks without changing position, like it exists in multiple dimensions at once. The black ship's response was swift and terrible. It fired 6 shots at once, each beam targeting a different enemy vessel. 6 Zilithian ships simply vanished from existence, leaving their companions shocked and confused. The battle was unlike anything humans had ever witnessed. The enemy threw everything they had at the mysterious ship, but nothing could touch it. It moved like liquid shadow, flowing around attacks while returning fire with weapons that removed enemy ships from reality itself. Within 3 hours, the Zilithian blockade that had strangled Earth for 18 months was completely destroyed. The survivors fled toward the edge of the solar system, broadcasting warnings about the impossible black ship that fought like a force of nature. As the last enemy vessel disappeared into deep space, the mysterious ship settled into orbit above Earth's North American continent. It powered down its weapons but remained completely silent, ignoring all attempts at communication from the planet below. Jake stared at the black ship on his screen. Humanity had been saved, but by whom? And what did their silent guardian want in return? 3 days after the liberation of Earth, the mysterious black ship remained in perfect silence above the planet. Every attempt to communicate had failed. Radio signals, laser communications, even primitive light patterns. Nothing got a response from their silent guardian. President Helen Martinez sat in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by her top advisors. The relief of survival mixed with the fear of the unknown. Earth was free, but they had no idea what their savior wanted, or even if it was truly friendly. What do we know about the ship? President Martinez asked her science advisor. Dr. Alex Turner opened his files. We've learned quite a lot by studying it from a distance, Madam President. The ship is definitely partially alive. Our scans show organic components mixed with technology we can't understand. The hull repairs itself when damaged by space debris. It's like a living creature merged with a machine. Could it be dangerous to us? The President asked. It destroyed the Zilithian fleet in 3 hours, General Carl Thompson pointed out. If it wanted to harm Earth, we couldn't stop it. Dr. Nina Walsh, Earth's top quantum physicist, added her findings. The ship draws power from quantum foam itself. It's tapping into the basic energy of space and time. That's how it can erase other ships from existence. It's manipulating reality at the quantum level. President Martinez rubbed her forehead. So we're dealing with technology that's like magic to us. More advanced than magic, Dr. Turner said. This represents science so far beyond ours that we can barely measure it. Meanwhile, on the orbiting research station New Hope, Lieutenant Commander Tony Mitchell prepared for a routine patrol mission to the outer planets. His job was to check for any remaining Zilithian forces that might still pose a threat. Keep your eyes open out there, his commander told him. The aliens might try to regroup beyond our sensor range. Tony's ship, a small but fast scout vessel called the Ranger, headed toward the edge of the solar system. He had volunteered for these dangerous missions because someone needed to watch for threats while Earth recovered from the siege. As he passed Jupiter's orbit, his sensors picked up something that made his blood freeze. Energy signatures, lots of them, coming from the direction of the Zilithian home territory. No way, Tony whispered, adjusting his sensors to get a clearer reading. What he saw made him forget to breathe. Ships, thousands of them, the largest fleet he had ever imagined, stretching across space like a metal storm cloud. At the center of the formation were 12 massive vessels that his computer identified as planet killers, ships designed to crack worlds apart. Tony's hands shook as he sent an emergency message back to Earth. Command, this is Ranger. I've found the Zilithian Revenge Fleet. 3,000 ships minimum, including world destroyers. They're heading for Earth at maximum speed. Estimated arrival time, 6 days. The message reached Earth in minutes. President Martinez was pulled from a cabinet meeting to hear the terrible news. The situation room filled quickly with military leaders and scientists. 3,000 ships? General Thompson stared at the sensor data Tony had transmitted. That's 10 times larger than the fleet that just attacked us. And 12 planet killers, Dr. Walsh added grimly. Those ships can destroy entire worlds. If they reach Earth, President Martinez didn't need her to finish. Earth would be turned into burning rock within hours. The mysterious black ship had saved them once, but could it handle odds like these? What about our mysterious friend? The president asked, looking up at the ceiling as if she could see through it to the ship in orbit above. Still silent, Dr. Turner reported. But something interesting is happening. Our sensors show the ship is changing. New weapon systems are appearing along its hull. It's growing additional armor plating. Back in orbit, Jake Harrison watched the black ship transform through his ship's telescopes. The smooth hull was sprouting new structures like a flower blooming in fast motion. Gun ports opened along the sides. Extra armor grew from the surface like scales on a living thing. It knows, Amy Rodriguez said quietly. Somehow it knows the enemy is coming. How could it know? Jake asked. Maybe it's monitoring their communications, Pete Collins suggested. Or it has sensors we can't detect. Jake nodded. The ship that could manipulate quantum reality probably had ways of gathering information that humans couldn't imagine. Any change in its communication status? Still nothing, sir, but the energy readings are increasing. It's preparing for a much bigger fight. Dr. Kate Morgan, working in the Global Defense Network bunker, made a breakthrough discovery that changed everything. She called Dr. Phillips to her station with excitement in her voice. Ben, you need to see this. I've been analyzing the quantum fluctuations around the ship during its transformation. What did you find? Ben asked. Kate pulled up her data on the screen. The ship isn't just scanning our communications anymore. It's studying our military tactics, our history of warfare, even our psychology. It's learning how humans fight. Why would it do that? I think it's modeling its combat behavior on us, Kate said. Look at these patterns. The ship is analyzing every battle humans have ever fought, studying our strategies, our refusal to give up even when outnumbered. Ben stared at the data. You're saying it's learning to fight like a human? Not just like a human, Kate corrected. Like humans with godlike technology. It's taking our tactical thinking and applying it with weapons that can erase reality. The implications were staggering. Humanity's greatest strength had always been their refusal to surrender, even against impossible odds. Now an alien intelligence was preparing to use that same stubborn determination with technology beyond human understanding. As Earth prepared for the approaching nightmare, the black ship completed its transformation. Where once it had been smooth and peaceful-looking, it now bristled with weapons and armor. But it maintained its position above Earth, a silent guardian waiting for the storm to arrive. Colonel Ryan Brooks, one of Earth's best fighter pilots, received orders to prepare for the coming battle. His squadron would support the mysterious ship however they could, even though their weapons were toys compared to what was coming. We might not be able to hurt them, Ryan told his pilots during their briefing, but we're not going to hide while someone else fights our war. It was a very human attitude. Even facing certain death, they would stand and fight. Above them, the black ship seemed to pulse with approval, as if it understood and appreciated their courage. The Zilithian revenge fleet continued its approach. In 6 days, Earth would face the largest space battle in history. The fate of humanity rested with a mysterious ship that spoke only through violence and a people too stubborn to surrender. The black ship had been silent for 5 days now, floating above Earth like a watchful giant. Despite every attempt at communication, it refused to respond to any human contact. Scientists studied it from afar. Military leaders planned around. It and the world's population looked up at night, knowing their fate rested with something they didn't understand. Dr. Alex Turner led a team of Earth's brightest scientists in trying to unlock the mystery of their guardian. Working from the orbital research station New Hope, they aimed every sensor they had at the mysterious vessel. The hull is definitely alive, Dr. Turner explained to his team. Watch this thermal reading. You can see circulation patterns like blood flowing through veins. The metal itself is breathing. Dr. Nina Walsh studied the quantum readings. The energy patterns are unlike anything in our physics books. It's not just using advanced technology. It's rewriting the rules of how energy and matter interact. How is that possible? Asked Dr. Kim Lee, the team's materials expert. I think the ship exists partially outside our normal space, Dr. Walsh explained. It can reach into other dimensions to change how physics works around it. That's how it can erase other ships. It pushes them into a dimension where they can't exist. The team worked around the clock, but each discovery only made the ship more mysterious. It was technology so advanced it seemed like magic, operated by an intelligence that remained completely hidden from human understanding. On Earth's surface, President Martinez faced the hardest decision of her career. The approaching Zilithian fleet would arrive in less than 24 hours. Evacuation plans were ready, but there wasn't enough time or ships to save everyone. Most of humanity would have to stay and trust their mysterious protector. What are the latest numbers on the enemy fleet? She asked General Thompson. 3,200 vessels confirmed, the general replied grimly. The 12 planet killers are at the center of their formation. Intelligence suggests they have new weapons designed specifically to destroy the black ship. New weapons? Dr. Turner joined the meeting by video link from the space station. We intercepted some of their communications. They're calling them reality anchors, devices that prevent quantum manipulation. If they work, the black ship won't be able to use its erasing weapons. President Martinez felt sick. So the enemy learned from their first defeat. It appears so, Madam President. They've spent the last week building counters to everything they saw the black ship do. Above Earth, the mysterious vessel continued its preparations. Jake Harrison watched from the Defender as new structures grew from the ship's hull like living crystals. The transformation was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Sir, the ship's energy output just doubled, Pete Collins reported. Any change in its communications? Jake asked hopefully. Still nothing. Amy Rodriguez answered. Whatever it is, it prefers action to words. In the Global Defense Network bunker, Dr. Kate Morgan made a discovery that changed her understanding of their guardian. She had been analyzing the quantum patterns around the ship when she noticed something strange. Ben, come look at this, she called to Dr. Phillips. What is it now? Ben asked, hurrying over to her station. Kate pointed to her screen. The ship isn't just studying our tactics and psychology. Look at this data stream. It's analyzing our DNA, our brain patterns, even our dreams when we sleep. Our dreams? The quantum field around the ship is reading the electrical activity in human brains across the entire planet. It's learning not just how we fight, but how we think, how we feel, what drives us to keep fighting when everything seems hopeless. Ben stared at the data in amazement. It's trying to understand what makes us human. More than that, Kate said excitedly. I think it's learning to be human. Watch these patterns. The ship's behavior is becoming more like ours every hour. Lieutenant Commander Tony Mitchell was on his way back from another scouting mission when his sensors detected the leading edge of the Zilithian fleet. The enemy ship spread across space like a metal plague, more numerous than stars in the night sky. Earth Command, this is Ranger. Tony broadcast. The enemy fleet has entered our solar system. Confirmed count. 3,400 vessels. They're heading straight for Earth at maximum speed. The response from Earth was immediate. Ranger, return to base immediately. All civilian ships are ordered to evacuate the battle zone. But Tony didn't turn back. He stayed at the edge of sensor range, watching the enemy fleet deploy for battle. What he saw made his heart sink. The Zilithians had learned. Instead of charging forward like before, they were spreading out in a careful formation designed to surround the black ship. They were also doing something new, setting up strange devices that created shimmering fields in space. Reality anchors, Tony whispered, remembering the intelligence briefings. The enemy was trying to lock down the laws of physics to prevent the black ship from using its quantum weapons. As Tony watched, the black ship suddenly moved for the first time in days. It left Earth's orbit and headed toward the outer solar system, positioning itself near Jupiter's orbit. The message was clear. It would meet the enemy fleet far from Earth, protecting the planet from the battle's destruction. It's going to fight them alone, Tony said in amazement. Colonel Ryan Brooks received the order he had been waiting for. All fighter squadrons prepare for immediate launch. We're going to support the black ship however we can. His pilots looked at him with a mixture of fear and determination. They all knew their small fighters couldn't hurt the massive Zilithian ships, but they were going anyway. Why are we doing this, sir? Asked Lieutenant Susan Parker, one of his youngest pilots. Ryan thought for a moment. Because that ship is fighting for us. Maybe we can't hurt the enemy, but we can show our guardian it's not alone. It was pure human stubbornness, the refusal to hide while someone else fought their battle. Even against impossible odds, they would stand with their mysterious protector. Dr. Walsh made one final discovery as the fleets approached each other. The black ship's quantum signature is changing, she reported to President Martinez. It's adapting to match the reality anchors. Whatever intelligence controls that ship, it learns fast. Fast enough to win? The president asked. I don't know. But there's something else. The ship's behavior patterns are becoming remarkably similar to human psychological profiles. It's fighting the way a human would fight if they had godlike technology. President Martinez looked up at the ceiling, knowing the black ship was somewhere above them in the darkness of space. Then maybe we have more in common with our guardian than we thought. The enemy fleet reached Jupiter's orbit, where the black ship waited like a lone sentinel. 3,000 alien vessels surrounded one mysterious guardian. But the battle for Earth was about to prove that sometimes one determined fighter could change the fate of worlds. The Zilithian revenge fleet arrived at Jupiter's orbit like a swarm of angry metal insects. 3,400 ships spread across space in perfect formation, their crystalline hulls gleaming with deadly intent. At the center of the formation, 12 planet killer ships prepared weapons that could crack worlds in half. The black ship waited alone between the enemy fleet and Earth, a single dark spot against the vast enemy armada. For the first time since its arrival, it seemed small and fragile compared to what it faced. Overlord Kithrix broadcast his demands across all frequencies. Unknown vessel, you have interfered with Confederacy business for the last time. Surrender, now, and we will grant you a quick destruction. Resist, and we will make your death last for centuries. The black ship's only response was to power up weapons that made space itself glow with contained energy. On Earth, President Martinez addressed the world one final time. My fellow humans, the hour of our greatest trial is upon us. We do not know who fights for us in the darkness above, but we know they stand between us and extinction. Whatever happens, we face it together, as one human family. In the command bunker beneath Colorado, Dr. Kate Morgan detected the first signs that the battle would be unlike anything ever witnessed. The black ship is doing something to space itself, she reported to Dr. Phillips. It's creating quantum fluctuations on a massive scale. What kind of fluctuations? Ben asked. It looks like it's preparing to split itself apart, Kate said in amazement, but the pieces will stay connected somehow. The battle began when the Zilithians activated their reality anchors. Shimmering fields spread across the Jupiter system, designed to lock down the laws of physics and prevent the black ship from using its quantum weapons. The mysterious vessel's response was immediate and brilliant. Instead of fighting the anchors, it used them. The ship began to fragment into hundreds of smaller vessels, each piece maintaining a quantum connection to the others. The reality anchors that were meant to trap it instead helped it create a defensive network around the entire Jupiter system. General Thompson watched the battle from Earth's military command center. It's using the enemy's own trap against them. Each fragment has the firepower of our largest ships, but they're all controlled by a single intelligence. Jake Harrison led Earth's remaining fleet toward the battle zone, knowing their small ships couldn't affect the outcome but refusing to let their guardian fight alone. All ships maintain formation. We may not be able to hurt them, but we're going to show the galaxy that humans don't abandon their allies. Colonel Ryan Brooks and his fighter squadron reached the battle zone first. The sight that greeted them defied belief. The fragmented black ship had created a three-dimensional maze of defensive positions using Jupiter's moons as cover. Each fragment moved with perfect coordination, creating overlapping fields of fire that no enemy could pass through. It's fighting like us, Ryan whispered over the radio. Using the terrain, setting up crossfires, fighting smart instead of just using brute force. Dr. Nina Walsh, monitoring the battle from orbit, made a startling discovery. The ship's combat algorithms are based on human military tactics throughout history. I can see patterns from ancient Earth battles, combined with strategies we developed during the first Zilithian attacks. The enemy fleet pressed forward despite heavy losses. For every Zilithian ship destroyed, 10 more took its place. The reality: anchors prevented the black ship from simply erasing enemy vessels, forcing it to fight with conventional weapons that took time to destroy each target. Lieutenant Commander Tony Mitchell, still scouting at the battle's edge, watched the tide slowly turn against their guardian. The black ship is holding them back, but there are just too many. It's being overwhelmed by sheer numbers. The 12 planet killers moved to the front of the Zilithian formation, their massive weapons charging for the final blow. These ships could destroy the black ship's fragments faster than it could regenerate them. It's over, General Thompson said grimly as he watched the tactical display. Our guardian fought brilliantly, but even it can't handle those odds. In the global defense bunker, Kate Morgan detected something new in the quantum readings around the black ship. Ben, the ship is doing something different. The quantum patterns are changing again. What now? Ben asked. It's scanning human minds across the entire planet. Not just studying us this time. It's connecting to us somehow. Jake, Harrison felt it first. A presence in his mind, gentle but undeniably alien. Not invading his thoughts, but sharing them. Suddenly he understood the battle from the black ship's perspective, seeing the tactical situation with inhuman clarity. Amy Rodriguez gasped from her station. Sir, I can feel it too. It's like the ship is showing us how to help. All across Earth's fleet human commanders began receiving the same mental connection. The black ship wasn't just fighting for humanity. It was fighting with them, sharing its knowledge and accepting their tactical input. Colonel Ryan Brooks felt his fighter respond to his thoughts with impossible precision. His small ship suddenly moved like it was part of the black vessel itself, dodging enemy fire with inhuman grace while striking targets with perfect accuracy. "This is incredible," Ryan broadcast. "The ship is making us better. It's amplifying our abilities." Dr. Walsh watched the readings in amazement. "The quantum connection is working both ways. The ship is learning from us in real time, while we're gaining access to its capabilities." The battle's character changed completely. Human. Ships that had been hopelessly outclassed suddenly fought with the coordination and power of their mysterious guardian. The black ship's fragments moved in perfect harmony with Earth's fleet, creating a combined force that fought with both human determination and alien technology. The Zilithians found themselves facing not one enemy, but an entire species that had learned to think and fight as one organism. Human pilots made impossible maneuvers while human commanders executed strategies that used the black ship's quantum abilities with tactical genius born of centuries of warfare. But even with the mental connection, the odds were still overwhelming. The planet killers broke through the outer defenses and aimed their world-cracking weapons at the black ship's largest fragment. "They're going to fire," Tony Mitchell reported desperately. "All ships, the planet killers are charging their main weapons." Jake Harrison felt the black ship's determination through their mental link. It wasn't going to retreat. Even facing certain destruction, it would fight to the end just like any human soldier defending their home. "All ships, follow my lead," Jake ordered. "If we're going down fighting." The combined human-alien force prepared for what seemed like their final battle. But in that moment of supreme crisis, the black ship made a decision that would change everything. For the first time since its arrival, it broke its silence and spoke directly to every human mind on Earth and in space. The message that came was simple, profound, and impossible to believe. The voice that spoke to every human mind was familiar yet strange, like hearing your own thoughts spoken by someone else. It carried knowledge of ages, the weight of time itself, and something that felt unmistakably human despite its alien power. "We, are you? From a future that may never be." Jake Harrison felt the words burn themselves into his consciousness. Around him, his crew stood frozen as the impossible truth washed over them. Amy Rodriguez looked at him with eyes full of wonder and disbelief. On Earth, President Martinez felt her legs give out as she sank into her chair. The Situation Room filled with stunned silence as world leaders tried to process what they had just heard. In the Global Defense Bunker, Dr. Kate Morgan stared at her quantum readings as they suddenly made perfect sense. "Ben, the patterns I've been tracking, they're not alien at all. They're human brain patterns, but evolved far beyond anything we understand." The voice continued, and with it came images, memories, and knowledge that flowed into every human mind. The story of what had been and what might never be. The black ship was crewed by humanity's own descendants from thousands of years in the future. They had evolved beyond physical bodies, becoming beings of pure consciousness that could merge with living technology. They had developed the ability to move through time itself, but only at a terrible cost. Commander Sarah Blake, speaking through the quantum connection, shared their desperate story. In the original timeline, Earth had fallen to the Zilithians. Humanity was extinct, wiped out by the very fleet they now faced. The galaxy had fallen into centuries of darkness, without human determination to light the way. "We watched our past selves die." Sarah's voice carried infinite sadness. "We saw our world burn, our people enslaved and destroyed. But we also saw what we could become if we survived. We developed technology beyond imagination, but we lost something precious. We lost the courage to fight impossible odds that made us human." The future humans had built time machines powered by the death of stars themselves. They could travel back to prevent their own extinction, but the laws of causality demanded a price. By interfering directly with the past, they risked creating a paradox that could destroy both timelines. We hope to remain silent, Sarah continued, to let our actions speak without contaminating the timeline with knowledge of the future. But faced with your destruction, we choose revelation over extinction. Jake Harrison felt tears streaming down his face as he understood the sacrifice. These future humans had given up their own existence to save a past they could barely remember. They were willing to erase themselves to give their ancestors a chance to become something better. The battle around Jupiter continued as the truth spread through both fleets. The Zilithian planet killers fired their world-cracking weapons at the Black Ship's main fragment. But instead of destroying it, something miraculous happened. Present-day humanity, inspired by knowledge of their potential future, began to fight with renewed determination. Human ships that had been barely holding their own suddenly moved with perfect coordination. Strategies that should have taken hours to plan were executed instantly through the quantum connection. Colonel Ryan Brooks felt his consciousness expand as he connected fully with his future descendants. His fighter became an extension of his will, dancing between enemy attacks while striking with precision that defied physics. Around him, his squadron moved like a single organism, covering each other with inhuman perfection. "This is what we could become," Ryan whispered as he watched his pilots perform impossible maneuvers. The Zilithian fleet found itself facing something they had never encountered before: two versions of humanity working in perfect harmony across time itself. The stubborn determination of present-day humans combined with the godlike technology of their future selves. Dr. Nina Walsh, monitoring from her space station, watched as the quantum readings showed something impossible. The two timelines are synchronizing. Past and future humanity are becoming one organism. The effect was devastating for the enemy. Zilithian ships that had dominated space for centuries suddenly faced opponents who fought with both desperate courage and infinite wisdom. Human tactics refined by thousands of years of future experience were executed with the raw determination of a species fighting for survival. Overlord Kithrix broadcast desperate demands for his fleet to retreat, but it was too late. The combined human force had turned the battle into a rout. Enemy ships fled in all directions as their mighty fleet was torn apart by opponents they had underestimated. But victory came at a cost. As the last Zilithian ship disappeared into deep space, the Black Ship began to fade. The temporal paradox was resolving itself and the future timeline was being erased. Sarah Blake's voice came one final time to every human mind. The future is not written. What we became, you can become better. We return to the darkness so that you can step into the light. The galaxy awaits not our return, but your arrival. Jake Harrison reached out as if he could touch the fading ship. "Wait, we need you. How do we become what you are?" Sarah's reply was filled with gentle laughter. "You already are. The courage to fight impossible odds, the refusal to surrender, even when facing extinction. That is the power that will reshape the galaxy. We gave you technology, but you gave us back our humanity." The Black Ship disappeared completely, leaving only quantum echoes in space. But it left behind something more valuable than any technology. The knowledge that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons or their science, but their absolute refusal to give up. President Martinez addressed the world once more, her voice carrying new confidence. "We have seen our future and it is glorious, not because of the power we might wield, but because of who we choose to be. The stars await us, not as conquerors, but as guardians of hope itself." Dr. Kate Morgan made one final discovery as Earth began to rebuild. Hidden in the quantum echoes left by the Black Ship were traces of advanced technology, not weapons or engines, but something far more valuable. Medical techniques that could cure any disease, energy systems that could power worlds without pollution, communication methods that could connect minds across vast distances. "They gave us the tools to become better than they were," Kate explained to Dr. Phillips. "Not just more powerful, but wiser, kinder, more human." Jake Harrison stood on the observation deck of the rebuilt Defender, looking out at Earth's new fleet. Ships designed with the gentle curves of living things, powered by clean energy that hurt nothing and no one. Humanity was reaching for the Stars, but they were doing it as healers and protectors, not as conquerors. In the deepest archives of human DNA, scientists found ancient quantum signatures that had been there all along. Evidence that this cycle of temporal protection had repeated throughout history, that humanity's refusal to surrender was literally built into their genetic code. Colonel Ryan Brooks, now leading humanity's first exploration fleet to distant stars, carried with him the lessons learned from his future descendants. Earth's children would spread across the galaxy not as warriors but as guardians of worlds that needed protecting. The war was over. The future had begun. And somewhere in the quantum foam that connected all things, the echo of Sarah Blake's voice whispered a final truth. You were always your own greatest heroes. You just needed to remember how to believe in yourselves. Humanity looked up at the stars and smiled. They had work to do.